Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. The emerald ash borer, also known as EAB, is an invasive insect that feeds on the wood of ash trees. Once a tree is infested with EAB, it's essentially dead. This map shows where EAB has spread since it was first confirmed in Orange County in 2018. The red areas indicate a confirmed infestation. Areas in yellow are considered high risk. Chances are the infestation is even more widespread because of how difficult EAB is to detect. And once a tree shows signs it's infested, it's already too late. Emerald Ash Borer Awareness Week is a partnership between UVM Extension, Vermont state agencies and departments, and the national organization Don't Move Firewood. We'll hear more about this effort in just a few minutes. First, we want to show how EAB impacts towns and municipalities. It's select boards and elected officials who have to reckon with the many costs of combating this pest. For one central Vermont community, the decision of how to confront EAB was bold, intentional, and hands-on. Here's Keith Silva.
If you want to know how to identify an ash tree, just ask Paul Kate.
White ash is one of 3 species of ash that we have here in Vermont. White ash, green ash, and black ash. The ash trees have opposite branching, and even in a large ash tree, if you look up in the tree, you'll notice that same branching pattern in the whole tree.
This ash tree is located on Gallison Hill Road alongside U32 Midland High School. Kate serves on the East Montpelier Resilient Roads Committee along with Jeff Quedo, the committee chair.
Well, we did inventory in 2019, 62 miles of road. About 2/3 of them are supporting ash trees along the roadside within the right-of-way. Just short of 2,500 ash trees that are 6-inch diameter and larger. The vast majority of them very healthy trees. So it's a little bit of a paradox because we started this committee to preserve roadside vegetation, especially trees, but we're immediately handed with the task by the select board to step ahead and look at removal of ash trees to eliminate that threat to our roads.
The threat to the ash trees in East Montpelier and Vermont is due to the emerald ash borer, or EAB. Native to Southeast Asia, EAB was first discovered in Michigan in 2002. Since then, EAB has been responsible for the destruction of tens of millions of ash trees in 30 states. The only cure is to have the ash trees taken down. EAB was first found in Vermont in 2018. East Montpelier has been spared so far.
It seems rather inevitable that EAB will be in East Montpelier if it isn't here already. We're sort of in the risk zone, if you will. Montpelier, Plainfield, Barrytown all have EAB. And so it could be here now. We haven't seen it. We put up some purple traps last year closer to Plainfield. Didn't find any EAB on the traps. Seeing as it seems inevitable, it's good to kind of get ahead of it.
The site near U32 was selected as a pilot project with 160 trees slated for removal. This effort would inform the committee on costs and, more importantly, engage residents about East Montpelier's proactive approach to combat EAB.
The 160 trees included the hedgerow along Gallison Hill here. The removal extended into 2 of the local neighborhood roads.
One thing that you find when you do this kind of thing is that people really love their trees. And they want to, if you're cutting trees down, they want to know what's the future.
Less than 10 miles east of U32, the impact of EAB is a much different story.
Joanne, where are we? This is a roadside in Plainfield, Vermont, and
Joanne Garten works as a technical assistance coordinator for Vermont Urban and Community Forestry. She works with Vermont municipalities on mitigating the ash trees in their community.
some municipalities are taking stock of what they have, literally getting out, walking the roads. Our program, Urban and Community Forestry program, helps municipalities do that. We have some training, we have some iPads and ways that you can sort of help note the location and the condition and the size of those trees. But it's been pretty important for some towns to begin to inventory what they have and start to make a plan for how they might like to be proactive or reactive to the emerald ash borer coming through.
The damage EAB has done in Plainfield is easy to see.
Not too far from where we're standing right now, we know that there are ash trees that are infested with emerald ash borer. We've seen white and black ash infested, and there's likely some green ash there too. Some of the trees along this stretch of road already we start to see that woodpecker flecking, that blonding up in the canopy of the tree. It's here and we're looking for it and hoping that municipalities can take stock of what's here and plan for a future without ash.
The Vermont Urban and Community Forestry Program offers financial assistance to towns as they plan for the inevitability of EAB.
The Vermont Urban and Community Forestry Program has been really fortunate over the past few years to apply for and receive funding from the U.S. Forest Service that we have earmarked as grant money for municipalities specifically who are looking to manage ash trees, inventory, perhaps take some down, and consider planting other trees, not necessarily right in the same place, but in important areas around their town.
The silver lining to the storm clouds hanging over Vermont's ash trees is a renewed focus on forests that are too often overlooked.
Roadside forests, they can be the forests that we see the most on our drive to and from work or town or school. And we don't think of them as being public places where you would sit and have a picnic or something. They are traveled right-of-ways, but they are managed by the municipality, and there is at times a reason for everyone in the community to have a voice and have an understanding of what's happening, understand what their road crew is doing to keep the roads safe and passable, but also manage this living, breathing forest that's all around your roadsides.
East Montpelier received a $15,000 grant from Vermont Urban and Community Forestry, which they matched in funds and in time from staff and volunteers. Queto and Kate consider the cost money well spent.
Having grown trees for 50-something years and looked after them, that all of a sudden I'm having to authorize taking down all kinds of trees, many of which are excellent looking trees. We're trying to make it into a positive thing as much as we can while we are doing the work of protecting the public safety.
Now that the ball is rolling, we have a very supportive select board in town, and we seem to have community support as well. And for the safety of the road crew, for the safety of the traveling public, for our aspirations for a future roadside vegetation in terms of holistic management, it makes sense.
The emerald ash borer is here to stay. Vermont's ash trees may fade from the landscape, but the urban forest endures thanks to those who stand tall for Vermont's trees. In East Montpelier, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.
Thanks, Keith. A sad story, but joining me in the studio via Zoom is Ginger Nickerson. Well, maybe it's an emerald ash borer. She is the Forest Pest Education Coordinator with Vermont Urban and Community Forestry Program. Welcome so much, and that is a green to remember. So. Welcome. And we saw some of the telltale signs of EAB infestation in the video. Let's talk more about that and what people need to know if they want to identify that a tree is infested.
Sure. There are a number of different symptoms and signs that people can look for. They're unlikely actually to see the actual emerald ash borer because it's the size, the adults are the size of a grain of rice, and they spend all their time in the canopy. So what we train people to look for are symptoms like branches dying back so that the canopy is thinning, as the tree is trying to get extra nutrients, it might send out side shoots that you wouldn't normally see. Those are called epicormic sprouts. And then sort of the best telltale sign is this blonding that we see behind me. That's actually caused by woodpeckers, who are way better than we are at knowing where the larvae are. And so they start to hammer on the bark, flake it off, and you can even see some of the holes made by the woodpeckers. Right. So that's a really good indication that a tree might be infested.
So then what do people do if they think a tree that they know of is infested?
They should go to vtinvasives.com and click on the report it link and upload photographs of the tree. And then we have a team that includes the state entomologist, and we'll make a determination about whether somebody should come out and check the tree. They might even peel it, because the only way that you can really determine if a tree is infested is by peeling it and finding the EAB larvae.
Okay. Well, clearly there's a benefit for municipalities to be proactive, and that's what was happening in East Montpelier and other places for road safety and other things. But how can people get involved with EAB awareness in their local communities and help out this effort?
Oh, well, we really need to have boots on the ground. They can get involved with their community tree board if they have one. They can get involved with their conservation commission. Often it's the conservation commissions that are involved with doing inventories and management plans. And then we also really need volunteers to be boots on the ground and eyes on the trees, because state personnel can't be every place. So we have a volunteer group of resident scientists called Forest Pest First Detectors. Can join the Forest Pest First Detectors by going to vtinvasives.org and going to the Get Involved tab, and they will receive training in how to look for and monitor for EAB and other invasive insects.
Right. Well, it's sad that the ash trees clearly are kind of on their way out, but we've got less than a minute, so camping season is about to start, and firewood contributes to this problem. It's probably how EAB originally got here.
Yes, absolutely. If people remember nothing else, they should remember to not move firewood. The way that the borer and other invasive insects travel is through people taking firewood from one place and then driving it long distances. So, you know, if the borer could get from Alburg to Bennington, it would probably be in the load of somebody's firewood. So our saying is, buy it where you burn it. So if you're going to a state park, a private campground, or your own camp, purchase your firewood as close as possible to where you're camping.
Right. Do not move those insects and pests around, because we are losing our ash trees. Thank you so much, Ginger Nickerson, for coming in and talking about the emerald ash borer and where we're going with that.
Thank you, Fran.
And thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.